Oh yeah. Bottom left of the map, the fangirls are waiting. It is the CJNtus player, Terran called.
CJNtus Bbyong.
You can hear him. Rumor has it, even from Japan, you can hear them screaming.
The fangirls are listening. It was always so awesome. Do you remember that THQ or whatever it was? What was that actually? What was that called? The monkeys are listening, you know the thing?
I have no idea.
I think it was THX that was the technology that... Oh, wait a second. Top left, guys. Sorry, I'm trailing off here a little bit. This is, of course, our TSL Terran player in blue. Able to equalize the score.
TSL Polt.
Yeah, you know, in cinemas, when they had this THX technology or whatever that
all I know
was.
is digitally remastered in THX. That's all.
Yeah, THX. So they had this technology, and when it was first introduced, they had these amazing thingies where they, like, you know, with the cows, where they had these sounds and whatever. And LucasArts made fun of that when they had the Monkey Island part coming in. So they kind of take this THX, and then they were like, the monkeys are listening. Don't remember that?
I don't remember that, man.
Ah, that was so cool. They had all these inside jokes. It was pretty awesome. I liked that a lot.
I gotta
You completely trail off.
I gotta re-experience this, but we have Polt with the gas this time actually, and Bbyong is he's got his a lot faster again. He's just loving the gas versus in the mech. He's done the same build 2 times in a row. I've noticed that a lot of these Kespa Terrans especially will just do the same build every game. Some of the Zergs will as well, but mostly the Terrans just love their style. They don't change it. This has actually become a thing these days. I feel like this is another reason why our map pool is kind of stale right now. Something that I actually just want to keep talking about because I think that I'm not talking about the GSLs. I just think being in general, StarCraft 2 our map pool is a little bit stale. All the maps are so similar that you can do basically any strategy you want on any map. You could pick a strategy that, all right, it's good for all the maps, and just keep doing that strategy over and over because it's standard. And that's what a lot of these custom players like to do. And if you practice strategy enough, it's gonna work.
Well, the thing about the map pool is that we have a couple of maps that are really old, and I would love to see a few new ones, but on the other hand, it's always so hard to have like balanced map pool and renew it over and over again. So, yeah. I have the same wish that we have a few more new maps, but at the same time I want to keep at least a stable base
ones, yeah.
so that you have very balanced maps that you can play on. And at least, I mean, they try all the time, so that's something that I really appreciate with all the maps that we have now in the pool. Well, right now what we can see is that we already have the expansion up for Polt, and on the other hand, we see for Bbyong the starport a lot faster, so he might just once again go for the aggression here.
I think he is. You know, I think he's probably going to go straight into Banshees, probably get a slightly delayed cloak, just like he's shown in the first 2 games, and hope that he could do some damage with that. Last game he did very little, and it really showed. Polt was able to hit that timing uninterrupted, I guess is the word I was searching for so desperately there.
You know, actually talking about the old games earlier with Monkey Island, I really tried to download one of those converters that they have everywhere because I think LucasArts actually allowed you to download that game for free at some point. It doesn't work. On every computer that I try, it does not work. I'm always so disappointed. I want to play that game again.
It's always an issue of operating system support for me. Like some of these older games. I remember I tried to play Myst. Did you ever play this game called Myst?
Yeah.
I love that game, and I tried to play through it again because I basically forgot everything. My father and I played together when I was a kid. I had like a notebook with him of all the things we studied and wrote down. I want to play it again, but the thing is I can't ever get it to run.
That's also Monkey Island for me. That was really the thing that started it all, and then came Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, and of course the earlier adventures that they had in the series. It was really awesome. Duke Nukem 1 and 2 jump runs. Oh yeah, back in the day, Sokoban. Hell yeah. Most people probably don't even know what that is anymore.
Probably not. I don't. But this Banshee is going to do some damage. The thing is, Polt's Marines are already pre-damaged from Bbyong's Hellions. That's exactly what he wanted to accomplish here. But Entomb Valley does not have that much space. Got to be careful, Bbyong, with that Banshee.
By Banshee. Polt, really well done. Nice stuttering in there.
He's got to cancel Cloak this time. You know, if you go for Mech,
I don't think he will.
If you go for Mech, you need all the gas you can get. Obviously, it's not all needed right now at this time, but he could add his factories a little bit faster if he had that 200 gas. Not now, but in a few minutes when he gets that expansion going with those first 2 mules. I feel like having Cloak here is just not going to be useful for him at all anymore.
I feel he's not flexible enough at this point
Yeah.
to really cancel Cloak. It did really well for him in game number 1, but after the second game and how it went, you're right, he should actually cancel the upgrade here and realize that with his Banshee play this time
He's
he won't
got a
do damage.
Viking flying in his base. That alone should tell him that Cloak is not going to work here aggressively anymore.
Yeah, Polt uses it as a scout and knows everything that's going on.
He's landing it. He landed the Viking. He's going to actually kill an SCV, maybe even 2 here. He's going to kill the Marine instead.
And with the Marine, he can now start with the SCVs. He's like, 1 and boom. With a bit of micro, no. Keeps it at 2.
That was really well done. Now here's the first Banshee. No turret though for Polt. A bit of an overstep. He was worried about the Viking so much. It looks like he forgot, but he's got scans and he has the Viking at home. He's got the second Viking coming back. No turret. I'm a little bit shocked by this, in fact. Just thought maybe he could cut it out of the build. I think he probably expected to cancel on the Cloak. I would have.
Yeah, and look at this Banshee. That Cloak really worked for Bbyong. I feel I have to apologize here. This guy killed 10 SCVs already, 11, and finally the Cloak.
Yeah, he had a scan for a while, but Polt was like, he was hoping, oh wow, he gets away too, but that's the worst feeling in the world. But Polt, I felt like he could wait till the Banshee ran out of energy and didn't want to use the scan. Didn't work out for him at all.
Yeah. But that Banshee, man, that was so worth it. A Cloak only for that one Banshee, that was definitely what he needed here. As it is, we have Polt on 31 Harvesters against 35, so he's still fine. But that kind of negated the advantage that he had, that he worked for.
He's so lucky these Marines didn't get spotted too by that group of Hellions.
They wouldn't have survived yet.
They would have had no chance. I don't think he would have killed a single Hellion. His Hellions, though, are very strong at the natural as well because there's not a ton of units to defend considering that a lot of the Marines are out of position.
He has 4 siege tanks. I think he's fine.
Yeah, I think he actually will be fine. I only saw 1 when I said that. There's 4. Yeah, my bad.
With the 4 siege tanks, he should be good. The question is, what can those Marines do? Because they were really trying to sneak past, but now they're running straight into those Hellions.
Yeah, this is a fight that we were talking about that might have happened before. He actually will get 2 because Bbyong doesn't micro, but now those 4 siege tanks are going to fight here, and Bbyong is actually going to take the fight. He realized it's not a good idea after a few seconds, but that was a bit weird.
Yeah, I really didn't understand why he engaged here. He must have realized that he can't take down those siege tanks. He lost a lot of those Hellions, but he takes the 20 supply lead in this game. And Polt can't really be too happy about how this went in the early game. First of all, he had a bit of a lead here, but then this 1 Banshee or 2 Banshees, they actually did way too much damage.
Yeah, way too much damage indeed, and now Bbyong has this insane Hellion count, 18 Hellions. His army consists of 18 Hellions and 2 Banshees. That's actually all he has. Polt has these Vikings, though, making the Banshees look a bit silly. He has to cloak and split them into 2 different directions to save them.
Polt now at 77 supply against 100 already without Stim. The Banshee is actually so awesome. Sorry, the Vikings that Polt uses in this game, they are also awesome with the micro that he has. But the problem for him are really the Banshees in his base now. Once again, a Banshee with Cloak is doing damage, and way too much of that. He even cancels the turret.
I don't even think he needed to cancel that turret. But actually, I mean, he maybe thought it was redundant since now he's going to chase us away, but if he had the turret up in the first place, those Banshees would not have killed what they have done so far already in this game. This Banshee has 6 kills. Polt wants to run it out of energy, but he's probably just going to have to scan here. With 3 Vikings, it'll basically one-shot it.
Yeah, but the Vikings are not missing, and there's another Banshee coming in, or did I just... There is another Banshee at the 3rd, right? Did you double-check that?
No,
no, I had him. Okay.
There's another Banshee that's near the 3rd, but it's just kind of hanging out over there.
Bbyong is playing this really well, and Polt has to be extremely careful that he doesn't lose this game after all if he wants to go to good ass. The CGNTS player is playing a very solid game here and goes once again into mech.
Bbyong's trying to fake him out here, but it looks like he's just going to run out of time.
Yep, only 8 points left, 8 energy on this Banshee, and then it's gonna die.
Polt very nicely trapping him. Oh, there it goes. Meanwhile, we have another trade with the Hellions, taking out a few Marines without losing a single Hellion. Uh-oh, those Hellions, on the other hand, walked into a trap.
Both of them are now on 3 bases with a very similar harvester count. Bbyong, as you could see, killed a lot more with the Banshees that he had in the game, but now the Hellions are under constant pressure thanks to the Marauders.
The Marauders that are moving across the map, though, have no fear I think they should be a little bit more afraid considering that they're out in the open. Those are Polt Marauders though, man. They have no fear.
The thing is, they're only up against Hellions. Look how many Hellions this guy has. 29. Bbyong has 29 Blue Flame Hellions.
Yeah, and he's actually just going to engage it at this point. Can't really force the long-term battle, but he can force the tanks out of position. He wanted to get into the third, but he wasn't successful enough.
He's crazy. I mean, we all know that Blue Flame Hellions are good, but it's not the old TV days where you could rely on Blue Flame Hellions only and not build anything else. These days, they can actually be countered.
I feel like we watched a game in Codes last season where Polt played against a player who made almost only Hellions, and Polt made almost only Marauders, but the Hellion player still ended up winning because he had the mobility.
And another Banshee in the third now.
And again, no turret.
Exactly.
Polt is really just neglecting his defenses, and Bbyong is punishing him hard. Like, this is not a timeout. This is you can't use the computer for 2 weeks punishment that he's getting right now, man. That's the worst kind.
There's the scan, and, well, Banshee at least dies, so that threat for now has been thwarted, but still, 6 additional kills, and that really nibbles away at Polt's Harvester numbers. He's back at 64, so he has a solid economy, but this is punishing him. If you just think about how many Harvesters Bbyong in total killed at 16.
Uh-oh, the Hellions. Oh, he gets trapped.
Yeah.
Nicely done. He at least deals with the Hellions. You know, he does not neglect his walls.
A Blue Flame Hellion jump in the main base. At the natural, 2 in the main base, 2 more. And this is now really annoying for Polt. Most of his army in the middle of the map doesn't have too much that can actually withstand this pressure. 2 Marauders on the low ground, but here we have 27 Harvesters killed in total. That means he just took down another 11 workers.
Yeah, Polt is starting to lose a lot of ground here. He has arguably the better composition if he can fight straight up, but Bbyong is just not giving him that kind of option. He's got Hellions always ready to run by. He's going to try to slow down this push again, try to force up a siege.
Bbyong doesn't give him any room to breathe. Yep. He just has no time to relax and to stabilize.
But this he made some mistake in the middle of the map with his pathing, and this is exactly what Polt needs. If he actually comes in here now with these tanks unsieged.
And he actually twitched back with those siege tanks. And now Polt and Bbyong are once again on even supply. The Siege Enter's turn has a lot more bank though. He's at 1,700 minerals. He does not have the gas. That's his problem. Of course, with the mech composition here, he is low on gas.
Yep, he's got the vision here to actually try to move his siege tanks forward, but somehow he messes it up, and Polt takes the opportunity to run in and trade against these siege tanks. A beautiful move by Polt here. This is exactly what he needs. Once the tanks are gone, the Marauders can actually just clean up the Hellions. I'm so surprised Polt is not moving his siege tanks forward.
Really
I'm
well done,
baffled by this, though.
Well, he wouldn't have had a lot of time to really do something here. He could have just, well, in the end, he would have been the better choice, but at this point, he felt confident in just his Marauder ability.
I mean, he still traded really well. That was a great engagement. It could have been even better, but he takes now control over Bbyong. Bbyong doesn't have a backbone to his army anymore. He lost all of his siege tanks.
Exactly.
Polt has more siege tanks than the meching player.
Indeed, he does. And the thing is, how many does he actually have? Polt is at 925. And Bbyong just suffered heavy losses in this game. Tries to make up for, sorry, what did I say? Bbyong suffered losses and he tries to make up with the Hellions that are now trying to sneak in to the third again. But Polt is ready. He still has this wall.
He's got a Thor and a siege tank to help clean them up.
This kind of changed the game. The last fight changed the entire game. Bbyong was ahead, but Polt takes this lead.
He doesn't really capitalize on it too much though. Despite that he had total control and his opponent's siege tank count was lower, Bbyong just didn't care. He's been mining from that 4th base, and he took another base during all of this. The map control that Polt got just didn't grant him anything. He didn't even move forward. Now he's starting to scan forward and see some siege tanks to try to grab onto. But Bbyong takes the better engagement this time, and Polt now finds himself no longer in the aggressive position that he once had. Again, with no anti-air, he actually can lose medevacs to Viking pickoffs like we saw Bbyong do just now.
But we have an additional orbital for Polt here, whereas Bbyong was forced to build an orbital at his 4th base. The +3/+3, that's gonna be scary, because Bbyong is heading into the last amount of upgrades for his mech units before Polt even has +2/+2 done.
Oh, looks like Bbyong wants to try to break out here to the side. He brings some SVs as well, but it doesn't work. And Polt, if he gets control of that ramp, he'll have control of all the production of Bbyong. Bbyong has his Hellions bunched up here.
Awesome position for Polt. If he can force those Hellions back, and it looks like he can. He takes down all of the Vikings, takes a huge supply lead in the game. The Hellions trying to get a better angle at Polt's army, but they're just not enough of them.
Oh man, Polt is actually just the true story of someone who will never go mech, and we will see so many times where he goes Biotank versus mech and makes it work, and he has done it again today. He will go to Codes. There's one group of rogue Hellions around the right side of the map that is going to try to take out SCVs at Polt's fourth, and he's going to be a little bit successful there. But otherwise, Bbyong has no foothold in this game whatsoever.
Yep. Bbyong is now down 50 supply. Here come the Hellions, moving right into the siege tank. And yes, they will kill most of those units. They will actually kill probably every single one.
All of the SCVs, yeah.
But the position for Polt at the bottom left is so awesome. He can go into the main base of Bbyong and take down the production of the CJ and just Terran. And this is something that Bbyong can just not live with.
Yeah, and Bbyong is going to lose all of his SCVs as well, making that trade at the fourth against Polt just not even relevant. The orbital falls. The planetary is still alive, but it's being sieged up by tanks right now. And Polt has the perfect contain.
Yeah, he has way too much. I mean, the Vikings and the Salmo try to change things here, as we could see, but they die too. There's the GG! And GSL Polt advances to Codes. Bbyong is in the up and downs.
Polt goes back to Codes the way many people would say it should be. And all those people who voted for him in the winner prediction are saying, I Polt you so.
Yeah. Really, really well done here by Polt. And now we can relax. Bbyong, on the other hand, his fangirls were a little bit sad after this. That's not what they expected when they came here today.
Yep. I just learned something amazing about Myst. Apparently, there's a new version of it out that lets you use it on modern OS. I'm really excited about that. I know what I'm doing tonight when I finish the cast.
Well, I actually learned earlier when we were in between games that apparently Duke Nukem 3D is freeware now.
Oh, cool.
So you can actually play that. That was a game that I played in LAN mode with my dad. No kidding. I was in my room, he had a computer upstairs, and we had like this you know, these long LAN cables that you had? We put one through the entire house.
That's
my mom was cursing all the time because she nearly tripped over it and broke her neck falling down the stairs.
Oh, those are the best though. That's like the best family LAN where you play with your dad and Duke Nukem. That's
just
how we
shot upstairs, and he's like, "Which room do we go?" He's like, "Well, there's a medikit back there if you need some health points." That was the entire. That was beautiful. I loved it.
That's awesome, man. That's the kind of story that grows you into an esports commentator.
Exactly. But, well, we have another family that is pretty happy today. That's the TSL family, and they have another player in this group today. Oh, well, in the Code A. Yeah. We are not in Code S yet. We are in Code A round 3, and we have Symbol up against Baby next. This is going to be a very interesting Terran versus Zerg. So, guys, stay tuned. After a 5-minute break, we are